the thing that kind of helped me, there's a couple of things that kind of got me over it. I will say I'm still very, I don't want, we'll put it this way. I'm negative on my own work. I have a hard time seeing my own work as being good. That's just me. But a few things that helped. The first one is treat your work like you would treat someone else's work. So, for example, when I post work and I get a B, let's say, I usually put myself down. But imagine you have a friend who posted their work and they got a B. What would you tell them? Would you tell them, oh, no, you try harder next time. You only got a B? Ugh, why? Aren't you trying? No, you wouldn't do that. That would be really mean. More than likely, you would look at their work and go, hey, you got a B? That's awesome. Like, that's really good work. A B is above average. A C is like student level work. A B is good student level work. That's basically what it is. Which means that you're understanding the principles, but you're still a student. Is that a bad thing? No. The whole reason you're in school is because you're a student and you're trying to learn. So if you're getting a grade that is equivalent to really good student work, you're right where you should be. If you had an A, usually like A's and especially like animation stuff, that usually means that you are like entry level, if not like you could work next to the mentor. And that would be awesome. Like, really, that would be great if you got A's. But again, consider you are a student. That would be unrealistic to expect to always be hitting A's consistently when you are learning. So with that in mind, like, again, think of how if a friend came up and went, man, I'm just getting B's, I suck, I'm terrible. What would you tell them? Would you go, yeah, you're right, animation's not for you? No. Like, well, maybe, I don't know. Hopefully not. I would assume not. We would try to be nice to them and not like pandering, like, oh no, it's okay, and then they turn their back and go, oh geez, that work sucked. No, honestly, we would be like, hey, you got a B? That's fantastic. Great. So take that mentality and turn it to yourself. When you look at your own work, and this goes for everyone, you look at your own work when you're feeling like being critical about your shot, put yourself kind of outside of your body and look at it as if you were looking at a friend's work. And what would you tell them? And it doesn't solve it. Like I said, I'm still super negative about my own work. But it gives you a different perspective. And it starts to get you into the constructive criticisms on improvement versus the I suck, I'm bad. How does that help? Like if I look at my work and go, man, that sucks. How did that help anyone? How did that make my work any better? It didn't. All I did was criticize it and then I left. But if I look at it, like, again, from a friend's perspective, oh, that's really good. Maybe next time, like if I was to comment on a friend, that you could focus on these specific elements and that might help raise your grade. If you approach it that way, now you've got constructive criticism on yourself. It's still criticism, but at least it's got a positive element to it. So yeah, that's the first one, probably the biggest one that helped me get out of that just super negative. I was really bad. Whenever I would post some work, it was just like, no, this is garbage. Why am I even doing this? Why should I even try anymore? I was very negative on my own stuff. The second thing that helped is, and this is a harder one to achieve, but enjoy the mistakes. Now, what does that mean, basically? Enjoying the mistakes basically means that you need to realize that when you are learning, you are going to learn the most and the best by making mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, or in other words, you're getting perfect A grades, that means that you might be understanding the material, and great, that's wonderful. Or you are not being challenged enough, which means that everything's too easy. It would be like trying to take a math quiz, and instead of trying to do calculus and like push yourself, you just go like 1 + 1 is 2. Oh, 2 + 2 is 4. Oh yay, look at that, I got an A+. Wowee. Well, did you learn anything, or were you just rehashing something that you've already mastered? So if you're getting A's, not always a good thing. The other thing is, if you're getting A's, were you lucky? So if I did an assignment and for some reason it just turned out really well, I don't know what I did, but oh wow, look at that, it's beautiful. Wow. What did I learn from that? Nothing. I got lucky, and hopefully I can recreate it, but I might not know how to recreate it or what I did to get it that good in the first place. So with all of that, when you're getting lower grades, as much as it sucks, as long as you're not getting failing, what it essentially means is that you are learning. That's the whole point of going to school. Now, you still want to push and try to get to A's and try to get that understanding in there, but it does not mean that you are failing to have like a B or even a C grade. It means that you are learning. That's the point. And usually what you can do with those grades is you can use that to pinpoint what you need to focus on. So for example, if you're getting a C, that's like average student work. Usually that means that you are understanding the basic fundamentals of the topic that you're learning. So for example, if you're in class 2 body mechanics, you're just barely understanding the body mechanics. So that means that your focus should not be adding more complex things like constraints and all of these really fancy elements. Your goal should be to focus on the body mechanics, the core idea of the course. If you're getting B's, that means you've got a strong understanding of these from a student perspective. It's not quite production quality, but it's still a really good understanding. So that means you have a couple of choices. You can either choose to really dive into those body mechanics some more and just get the most out of them and try to get that to an A and like just really understand all the nitpicky stuff on body mechanics. Or you can start expanding. Maybe I want to start learning a little bit of constraints as well. So I keep my body mechanics understanding about the same, still not doing something super complex, but I'm adding other elements in there that I can learn and expand. If you've got an A, well, yeah, you should definitely be pushing yourself on the next go to do something even more. So in terms of like a B grade, it's not a bad thing. It's just a guide on what you need to focus on. So again, it's taking that grade and going, now I know what I need to focus on, and kind of enjoying that process. Again, very hard to do because obviously we want an A, like we want a high grade. But that helped me a lot in kind of accepting the grade and then making sure that I apply myself to improve the grade. So I hope that helps. And then since AM grades with a 1 to 5 system, what is an A versus B or C? So I'll draw it out here just so you have a comparison. It's basically like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it goes, well, here. So the typical grading system, and my tablet is, oh wait, dang it. I keep forgetting, I restarted my computer, and then I keep forgetting that my tablet loses its preferences. So let me open this up if it doesn't freeze for me. And okay. So I don't think I'm gonna have pressure sensitivity, but that's fine. Okay. So in like a lot of American schools, you typically have the A, B, C, D, and then it goes to F. For some reason, they skip E. I don't know why. Grading system. That would be if you were to compare to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 method, which is, I believe, a few different countries use that, as well as Animation Mentor. It would be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So a 5 is the highest score, a 1 is the lowest score. So yeah, that's how it would equate. So if you're getting B's, or if you're an Animation Mentor, it would equal a 4. So if you're getting a C, that's like average student work. That's a good level for if you're totally new to this topic. If you're getting a D or a 2, that usually means that you're not understanding the core principles that they're trying to teach you on this assignment or this project. Let's see, I think an issue would be you can get an A mark at the start and then C's later, which for some people can be demotivating. But learning extra fundamentals are good. Yeah, and it's not really an issue. Again, it seemed like an issue, and it's very demotivating when you see it on your own grades. Like to get an A and then, oh, now I suck. But again, when we're looking at grades, you really want to think of why that is. Why are you getting a C? It's not just because you're bad. That's our brain telling us that the reason. We have to fight that. It just means that we're lacking an understanding of certain areas. And we can use that grade to help us direct where we should put our attention. So again, if you're getting C's, really try to focus on just the core elements of the assignment. And really pay attention to what your mentor is saying about where you're struggling. And this is a big thing, and this goes with any school. Sometimes your mentor will give you critiques, and there are times when you're not going to be sure what it is that you're actually struggling with. They'll give you notes, but afterwards it's like, but what am I really struggling with? What is the thing that I need to focus on to get better? What is the principle that I'm missing? Ask them. Send them a message and just go, hey, I'm really trying to improve here, and I would just like your opinion on what it is that I need to really focus on my next assignment or on my next project. Ask them. And most of the time, they're going to be happy to let you know the main things that you need to put your attention to. So yeah, just be open to communication. We talked about this yesterday. As animators, we have to communicate. When you're in a studio, if your shot isn't getting approved, so the director isn't approving it and the supervising animator, like no matter what you do, is not getting approved, you can't just sit there in silence and try it again and then submit it and, oh, no, it didn't get approved. Okay, sit in silence, try it again. You have to talk. If they're not talking to you, ideally they should, but if they're not, or if you want clarification, you go talk to them. Ask them, okay, what is it that you want here? What is it that I'm not getting? What is it in this scene that we should be aiming for? What feeling do you want? Do you want sadness? Do you want happiness? What subtext is it? You ask these questions, whatever it is that you need at that time, you ask them. You communicate with them. You communicate with the rest of your team. You need to do that. It's just part of being an animator.